Hello, everybody. My name is Kamara, and today we are going to be reviewing our fifth installment of the fourth season of the Backyardigans, season 4, episode 5, Dragon Express. In this episode, it is Pablo's first day as an employee at the Dragon Express delivery service. He meets air boss Uniqua and fellow driver Austin in the mountains of Norway. As they make deliveries to Clifftop Castle and the mountain mine, Pablo teaches Austin the art of fancy flying. When Pablo gets in trouble delivering a package to the Ice Palace, Austin must use his newly learned flying skills to help his friend. Now, this episode, before I start off by saying, this episode, whenever it came on, I normally used to skip this one because I used to think it was like meh. But looking back at it now, it is a underrated masterpiece in my opinion. It truly is. It is. This whole episode, the music is absolutely mwah. Chef's kiss. Icing on top, cherry on top, sprinkles, mountain, hot fudge sundae, ice cream scoop on top. Delectable. Perfect. This is the genre is Strauss Waltz. It's absolutely amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. And we have dragons in this episode. We have Pablo's dragon, whose name is Maverick, and Austin's dragon, whose name is Wendy. And to my bestie, she loves dragons. This episode was just so good. The music is absolutely amazing. And I really do like this concept of, instead of the person who's having their first day at a new job, it's normally the person has a brand new job, and on the first day they're kind of nervous, and then there's other people who are more experienced in doing said job, but it's the other way around. Instead of it's Pablo's first day, and he's really confident, and he manages to get it right, get basically 90% everything right on his first day. And Austin, he's still experienced, but like he said, him and Wendy don't do fancy flying. They don't really know any tricks. And I like the name of "Stick with Me, Bub," and Pablo slapping Austin in the back, and he's like, "Ow!" And Air Boss Uniqua is pretty fun too. It's really good, but just all the songs in this episode were so good. Dragon Express, Woohoo is just, it's amazing. It is a masterpiece. I'll explain more at the end, but fancy flying, I feel like I feel like without the context of this episode, I feel like you can really get somebody give somebody the encouragement they need when they want to do something that somebody else can do. And there's a line in this song that I really like. I'm not gonna sing it, I'm just gonna tell you what it is. It's when it's this part of the song when Unique was like, "How will you learn to fly just like him?" And then Pablo says it's like when you learning how to skate or to swim. Ironically, we're gonna have 2 episodes about skating and swimming later on this season. And Austin saying, I just keep on working as hard as I can, and Uniqua even tops it off by saying, "The next thing you know, you will be the man." How embedding is that message? Like comparing, I feel like it's best to, like, instead of comparing like hard stuff, like compare something hard to doing something easy. I feel like that's really that's a really good message. Because if you just tell somebody like, that's too hard, you can't do it, and instead of telling them it, at first it may seem hard, but it can be really easy, just do it little by little. It's just like doing everyday things. Like, how good is that message? How good is that message? A lot more people need to hear that message nowadays, because I just feel like, you know, I'm hearing more and more people just saying that, like, seeing people do hard things and telling themselves that I can't do it. And in my brain, I'm like, yes, you can. It may seem hard. It may not be like an easy thing at first, but if you take it day by day, it will be really, really easy. It will. And just their scenes where Pablo and Austin are just flying on their dragons, just so iconic. Iconic. It's just iconic. And I love their dragon wear. To tell you the I'm gonna say now, this was my How to Train Your Dragon. This was my How to Train Your Dragon. And a funny story actually, when Pablo and Maverick were in the Ice Palace, right? At first, when my Nana, she had changed the channel back in the day, when she had changed the channel and she had gotten to this part of the episode, she was like, oh, I didn't know Frozen was on. And I was like, Frozen? And then when I saw Pablo flying with Maverick, I'm like, that's not Frozen, that's the Backyardigans. And she's like, oh, my mistake, because the whole aesthetic of the Ice Palace really does look like Elsa's Ice Castle. I don't know why. There's this funny memory back in the day, and I absolutely love the whole flying scenes and a real dragon jock. A real dragon jock. I love the moves that they're doing and the choreography and the dancing in this episode. Not just when they're on their dragons, when they're just dancing, it's on point. Like, they really do like a lot of ballet-esque moves, and we already seen Uniqua do like some sort of ballet moves. Whenever like during the intro when they're dancing their ending theme, and just but them dancing it just comes to prove to you that boys can do ballet moves too. You don't have to be stereotypical. And I love this trio of characters, Uniqua, Pablo, and Austin. Like, we haven't gotten this type of trio activity until like, heck, I want to say just these characters at the beginning of like season 2, because I love their whole dynamic. I like their whole dynamic. I feel like they pick each other up whenever like I feel like when it comes to Uniqua and Pablo, they're already as confident as they are. But when it comes to Austin, I feel like out of the cast of characters, no offense to Tasha and Tyrone, because at first Tasha was a little bit bossy, and I talked about my little theory I had on Tasha and Austin back in my review in season 1 of my double parody review of Knights Are Brave and Strong and Keys to the Nile. And I mean, and also Tyrone, no offense to him, because he was already like a shy guy along with Austin in the first season. But when it comes to these two, I feel like they know how to like build up his confidence, especially now. Especially like way further on this in the series. Like these two characters, I imagine them. I picture now when Austin first moved, because in the description of his bio when the show first came out, he was described as the new kangaroo on the block. I imagine that these two were the first ones that welcomed him in. And I feel like now, along with another episode coming up, we really get to know these three dynamic. Like 2 is already confident, 1 is already somewhat still shy, but when it comes to these two, teaching him, he really knows how to come out of his shell. He really does. And remember what I said about moments in the show, near-death experience? Yeah, near-death experience here. The ice. Yeah, that ice. If that ice would have planted it on them, that's all I'm gonna say. Yeah. And Austin did such a good job of saving Pablo. Like, he basically took everything to heart of what he teach them. But here's what I like. Everything was already starting to collapse, right? But instead of Austin taking Pablo's approach, he takes his approach of what he did earlier, not too fast, not too slow. Not too slow, because when Pablo, it was just Pablo there and his dragon Maverick, they was going all fast and stuff, bumping into ice walls. No, Austin actually took his time and even came up with the idea of having the dragons use their fire smoke to melt the ice to see which one has the real mailbox, which I love it. And then again, they both got to deliver the package because because Pablo got to the last package first, and he said, And he said, "Don't worry, bub, you'll get the next one." I just lost Austin in this. I do. And I believe this is the first and only time in the series where we get to see dragons breathe fire, which I love it. I love it. Not too scary for kids, actually using something useful, saying that, hey, fire's not bad. Not all the time. Don't play with fire, kids. But yes, Austin and Pablo in this episode, they're like tag team brothers. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, they're like brothers. And now we have Woohoo. If not one of the most underrated songs in this series. I'm telling you. Like, I am a dragonflyer, wind rider who soars into the blue. A sky racing, cloud chasing, babu shouts, woohoo, 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 woohoo. You can always tell a dragon rider's well by the way he yells, woohoo. This song is an underrated top tier, in my opinion. Underrated top tier. And this whole episode is an underrated masterpiece. Like last season, I said Caveman's Best Friend was an underrated episode. In my opinion, this is my underrated episode in this season. Dragon Express. I'm just gonna say it. Dragon Express. And I love the snack at the end because the gag in the episode kept on saying piece of cake. Literally at Austin's house, he's having a piece of cake. I mean, who wouldn't want a piece of cake after this whole adventure? I personally would. Chocolate, please. Chocolate. And I also love the scenery change because this is the only season where we do the ending backyard song twice, I believe, in front of Austin's yard, because he has that little fence that we've seen him open up in later seasons when he's interacting with the characters, because other time we went to Austin's house, I can only think of one instance, and who done it. Instead of like doing it in front of his yard or his fence, we did it in front of Pablo, Uniqua, and Tyrone's backyard, and then we saw them run over to his fence. But instead, they just as soon as they finish the song, they're already behind the fence. They just run straight to it, which I love the scenery change. I love it. I love finally this season we really get to see Austin. We really get to see. I feel like this season Austin is fully out of his shell. Season 1, he was still he was starting to come out of it a little bit. Season 2 and 3, he was halfway out of it, but he still took caution. In this season, he's fully out of his shell. Still has his bit of cautious moments here and there. Not so much, really. But he's fully out of his shell. He's fully knowing all the characters. He's fully getting his friend group together. If he had to. Not saying he has a friend group. I mean, obviously he has Tyrone and Tasha too. But this friend group, I like this friend group. And I can't wait to see it in another episode later on. This friend group is T. And something else starts with a T as well. But I'm about to get this episode. I'm giving it a 10. It's so good. It's an underrated masterpiece in my opinion. People should really watch it more. This was my How to Train Your Dragon in my opinion. This episode is getting a 10. Austin, Pablo, they really shine in this episode. The music, chef's kiss. And just the dragons, the whole design. Iconic. Now, tune in with me next time as we'll be reviewing another fan favorite from this season. You already know. Season 4, Episode 6, Flower Power. See you all next time.